back vibe, baby.
Welcome to the Cup of Joe Show, where we explore the journey of recovery from alcohol and drug addiction. One story, one conversation, and one step at a time. I'm your host, Joe, creating a safe space for honest discussions about the challenges and triumphs of addiction and alcoholism. In each episode, we'll hear inspiring stories and uncover tools that make healing possible. Sobriety is not a one-size-fits-all journey, and you don't have to face it alone. Recovery is possible, and it's worth it. Thank you for joining the Cup of Joe Show. Now let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cup of Joe Show. I'm your host, of course, Joe. And before we get started, I just want to say this to anyone out there listening right now. If you are struggling, you are not alone. Please don't suffer in silence. Today, I'm joined by my friend Nic R, who's been sober since March 23rd, 2025. He's a husband, a dad of 3. They got another baby on the way, and his story is a little different than some of the ones we hear. Nic says he made the decision to quit drinking, just a moment when he knew something had to change, and he went all in on building a different life for himself and his family. And I'll tell you, I, for one, am a believer that there's more than one way to recover. I have to give a shout out to my good friend, Colonel, who recovered differently than I am, but recovered just the same. So I'm curious to dig into Nic's story, what brought him to that point, and what's helping him stay sober today. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's get into it. Nic, how you doing today?
I'm real good, Joe. Thank you.
Man, thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So, one, I have to give a shout out to Linda K too, because Linda is kind of a connection between me and Nic. Nic spent some time in Columbus, Ohio, where Linda's from, and Linda K and her late husband Mike K were big parts of my recovery. So, have to do that before we get started, Nic.
No, Linda was a great person. Like I said, she coached some of my t-ball teams growing up when a little bit of time I spent there, and I spent a lot of summers there. And great woman,
Yeah,
right there.
That's really cool. That's cool. But so, what was it like growing up, Nic?
Well, we'll start out. We grew up in Columbus for a little while. Played t-ball there. Had my mom and my dad together. At an early age, my mom and dad decided that it wasn't working out for him anymore. So we moved to the country 2 hours away, in Ohio still. Went to a small place called Jewett, Ohio, or Scio rather. So we went there. We lived in a trailer for a little while. That didn't work out. So we moved to another town, small town, about 35 minutes away from there. Called Adino, Ohio, where we resided the rest of, pretty much my whole childhood, and going into adulthood. It was, there wasn't much there, brick roads. It was, there wasn't a whole lot. And, and I think, a lot of that is what contributed to me getting into alcohol, honestly, because there's not a whole lot to do. There's not a whole lot of jobs. There's not a whole lot of anything to do, really. It's a small town. I mean, we played sports, but what are you going to do after you get done playing sports? You got to find something to do. So we decided to do other things, recreational fun. And that was definitely at an early age that we decided to do that. But yeah, growing up there, it is a small town, so it's kind of like I've always depicted it as kind of like Cheers. Everybody knows your name, and it's not always a good thing because everybody also knows your business. They know it before you did it, so it was a lot of fun growing up there. You'd hear things about yourself that you didn't even know that you did. So. But yeah, I mean, growing up there was sports. Sports was fun. All of us were athletic because we grew up on farms. We grew up working on farms. It was a lot of fun.
So I love that everybody knows your name and your business. That's
yes.
I understand that, man. So, how old were you when you first felt the effects of alcohol or drugs or whatever was?
I was really thinking about that. Never got into drugs. That was one thing that I shied away from. My I grew up. My father, he was he smoked a lot of marijuana, and then later on found that he was doing some cocaine too. That was something I never wanted to get into because I saw how it affected him. And he actually ultimately died of a heart attack, which I think the cocaine contributed to. But I was thinking about this the other day when I was getting ready to go on here. When was the first time that I really got experienced with alcohol? And the sad true fact of the matter is, I was in fifth grade. I weighed 65 pounds. I was over at a friend's house, and his older sister had some friends over there. Um, and went outside. 'Cause, like I said, it's country. We had fires, bonfires, the four wheelers, and all that stuff. And they were having a party, and they were there, and they all left, and lo and behold, there's this holy grail of a bottle of fire water sitting on the table. Me, fifth grade, 65 pounds. What's this stuff? Take a drink, and then that cinnamony warmth really got me. I was like, I'll take another one. I'll take another one. And little did I know that stuff was enough to knock you on your ass, especially at 65 pounds. I did probably about 9 shots. And next, I don't remember. That was the first ever time I experienced alcohol. That was the first time I ever blacked out. Um, I shouldn't be alive talking about this today because I woke up in my own vomit. Um, it was not pleasant. It definitely was not pleasant. Luckily, there was enough people there that turned me to my side, and I could have drowned in that.
What was your thought? Do you remember like thinking I'll never do this crap again, or was it just the opposite?
Joe. I think all of us have said that the day after a hard drinking is I'm never going to do that again, and then we jump back on the horse. I think many of us have said that many times. I couldn't count on all fingers and toes to tell you how many times I've said that. But yeah, I guess I mean I was in fifth grade, and it was one of those things. My aunt caught wind of it, and she's one that I lived in Columbus with a lot of the times. And yeah, that was a scary thing for her to find out, and I probably never touched any alcohol again until I want to say ninth grade. After that, it was enough to scare me.
No, I certainly get that, man. It's and you're in fifth grade. It's like you think, you know, 4 years, I'm good.
Right, right. Yeah,
It seems like a lifetime,
yeah.
and that kind of stuff. What was like? I know you said your dad um, used cocaine and marijuana. What was the general? In your family, what was there any thoughts towards alcohol or any other drugs other than your father, or was it
Uh,
normal?
yeah, that was kind of the normal thing growing up was everybody in my family drank. I mean, so, growing up, it was to me, I thought this is normal. This is what I'm supposed to do. Everybody else drinks. I got to follow suit. Um yeah, and it's always been like that. I've always said that you know, somebody always says, when I hang out with one of my cousins, are you guys going to drink? Yeah, that's what we do. That's what I always said. And then, later on in life, you figure it out. I mean, and especially now that I'm going on a year sober, I I hang out with the people that I used to drink with, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's not what we do. It's not what we have to do. You know.
Yeah, it's funny how we tell ourselves these stories of no, it's just this is the normal, and it's like you know you realize, well, maybe it's not so normal and not everybody's doing it. I was always everybody else is doing it, but the truth was not everybody else was doing it. I was just always finding the people that did. I was always looking for the people that drank like I did. And,
100%.
um, so looking back, I mean, you said, so the next drink you took is in high school, and what was high school like for you?
You know, I was a wrestler in high school. Didn't play any other sports once I got to high school. Played a little bit of baseball when I was younger, but high school was wrestling. I wanted to focus on wrestling. That was what I wanted to do. Um, And I think, the thing is, we were in the country. Um, we didn't have cops, so we could do whatever the hell we wanted to. And my house was the getaway house for everybody. That was, mom was one of the ones that would tell us she doesn't care if we drank. She would buy it for us, but the keys would be locked up somewhere. Everybody's staying at the house. We have bonfires, and so from pretty much ninth grade until I graduated high school, went to college. I didn't go to college till I was 21. We can get more into that too, but yeah, we would. That was the house. My house was the party house. It was out in the middle of nowhere, and it was actually on the county line. So by the time one of the county officers would get there, if they were to come, which never happened really, somebody else would already call me and give me a warning. So we would shut it down and run in the woods or whatever we had to do. Um, but yeah, that was the like I said, that was where we were at. It was party at my house almost every weekend. A lot of times we wouldn't do it in season. Sometimes we would, which was not very smart, but but yeah, we that was where it was at.
I have to ask you, what weight did you wrestle, Nick? Because I
Um,
wrestled in high school too.
high school, I wrestled 112 well 103 my freshman year. I was on JV, which had a really good guy ahead of me.
Yeah,
And then I wrestled 112 the following years, sophomore through junior or senior
yeah,
year.
that's awesome. Yeah, I uh, um, I wrestled 101 as a freshman, and then 115, 122. So yeah, we were around the same thing.
Yep.
That's cool. I knew I liked you already. I knew.
And took
um,
off and wrestled 125 in college for 4 years. So,
did you?
oh yeah,
See, now you're way ahead of me. So yeah, I was just a high school wrestler, but
right.
it's cool. Where'd you wrestle at in college, if you don't mind me asking?
Heidelberg College. Now it's Heidelberg University. It's in Tiffin, Ohio. Um,
Okay.
yeah, wrestled 4 years there. Wish I would have went right out of high school. I would have been in a little bit better shape, but that wasn't the case for me. So
Yeah.
wasn't ready to go yet.
So in high school, were there any consequences to the drink? I know law enforcement wasn't there, but was there any other consequences you can think about?
I mean, the thing is, I can honestly say that I never had any issues with police or law or anything like that while I was growing up with drinking. Like I said, we stayed put at the house. I never really went to any other parties outside of it. It was just kind of just chill at my house, and we never really had too many problems.
Were there any other kind of consequences?
No,
Any in school or anything?
I mean, that's the thing is, we never got caught. That was, you can't have consequences if you don't get caught. I do know that there was some guys because I transferred high schools my junior year, and there were some guys on the football team, and the head football coach was also the head wrestling coach. Um, he did catch them, and he caught wind of them drinking at a house, and he did suspend them for a game. So. Yeah, that was that consequence. But as wrestlers, we never really drank during season because it just you want to focus on it. You can't, and I mean you're losing weight and everything else. The alcohol doesn't fare well for you. I mean, I can remember I won a conference tournament, which is a huge 3-day tournament at our where we grow up. And one of my buddies that I left the school I left, he won it also, and I said, hey man, let's go back to my house, let's drink some beers tonight. Have mom buy us a case of Bush Light, and we'll be ready to go. And he said, you know what, no, we're not doing that until after season. So we did wait till after season, but I had that idea at that point in time.
Had the idea, talked out of it. That's cool. But so you said there was what was it, 3 or 4 years between when you graduated and when you went to college. So what happened there?
Yeah, I don't know, I wasn't ready. The day I graduated, we came home, and mom and dad were at the house. They had some friends over, and they were drinking and everything. Um, but I just decided I wasn't ready to go to school yet. I was like, man, I just went to school for almost 18 years of my friggin' life. I don't want to go back into it right now. I kind of regret it. I'll be honest with you. I should have right away, um, because I did pick up some bad habits on the way along the way when I didn't go, because I'm still sitting at home, and that's the boredom set in, and the drinking gets heavier. So yeah, I decided I just didn't want to go, and then what really brought me to going is the fact that I realized that I was going nowhere. I was sitting at a bar stool every night, and not every night. I would say 4 nights out of the week I was sitting at a bar stool. And I wanted to get back into wrestling. I was coaching high school wrestling, and I just wanted to get back into it because I felt like it was necessary. Something a part of my life was missing, and I wanted to get back into it.
So you get back and go on to wrestle in college. And did you have any issues in college with it, or was it just college?
I mean, college was a different animal. I kind of had free will when I lived at home with my mom. Like I said, it was the party house, and she didn't care. It was one of her things was, you're going to do it anyways. I'd rather you do it at home. So once I got to college, it was like complete and total mayhem. It was we could. I don't have no rules. I don't have a job. I mean, I should go to class, but I don't have to. They're not taking attendance. Um, so when you go to college, it's a different beast. You get you got your own free will. You're on your own, and if you want to drink tonight, you're going to drink tonight. That's what's going to happen. If you don't have the money to drink, you're going to find a way. It's just the way it is.
What were there any? Was there any point during this time where you were like kind of like thinking, I might have a problem, or was it not even on the radar at this point?
Well, yeah, I mean, there was definitely times where I would think that I had a problem. Previously, right before going to college, so I turned 21 June that summer in June. Um, Month after that, was out playing beer pong at a friend's house. Actually, his business. We were playing beer pong and whatnot, and it would have been the first time I ever drove drunk. So we hammered some beers that night, and I still remember it to this day. And I drove home perfectly fine. I was like, man, that was smooth. That's easy. Um, so the following week we did the same thing. Uh, Working with one of my buddies and went to the bar. Friday night was karaoke nights. I'm pretty good on the mic. Um, so we would always, it was kind of a concert between me and a couple other buddies. We were the ones that would grab the mic all night long, and we would sing. So that night I decided I was going to drink wild turkey, and bartender was awesome. So they would give us doubles every time. And where I grew up, it was $1.25 beers and $1.50 mixed drinks. So $20, you're getting pretty hammered all night. Um, so we go there, and I was with another friend of mine, and he says, whoever has the least amount of straws drives home. Okay, so pull him out, and I had probably 9-10. He had 9-10, and I was like, well, it's my car, so I'm driving. And people try to take my keys that night, and I threw a fit. I was being selfish, and I got in that car, and man, we were almost there. I totaled the car. Um, yeah, I thought to that point, I was like, man, my college career is going to be over. I'm never gonna amount to anything. Luckily, I survived that. Um, I look back and I wish that I would have gotten in more trouble whenever that happened. And it would have opened my eyes a little bit more. Going back to the us saying never drinking again. That was what I said that night. Oh, I'm gonna take some time off. I'm never gonna drink again. And the next week I'm at that same bar, getting drunk again. So took a week off. That was impressive. Um, but yeah, I didn't get much out of it. I got a reckless op, um, and a failure to control. So about $500, lost my license for 3 months. Had to do a DUI camp for 3 days. Um, it was kind of a slap on the wrist, and that's kind of how it is where I grew up. I've seen people with 9, 10 DUIs. I mean, I got a relative that's got it, and he's still, he's not drinking so much now and not driving. He's kind of on a better path now, but he's lost his license multiple times, and I'm like, how in the hell do they keep giving them back to you? you know. But yeah, so it was there's times in college where I'd black out and not know what was going on, and it would really hit me like, man, I probably do got a problem.
So after college and you does it start escalating, or what goes on after college?
No, I wouldn't I wouldn't say after college it escalated too much. I was kind of, once again, get out of college, I was on my own. It got to the point where I would drink every day. Wasn't sneaking or anything like that. I wasn't hiding anything. Um, was drinking at least, you get to the point where you feel like you have to drink at least one beer to feel right. You got to have one sip to feel right throughout the day. Never had an issue where I was like drinking and going to work or anything like that. I mean, there was times where you would have a heavy night, and you would feel it the next day. That's for damn sure. Um, but never felt like, and that's the thing too. I got a lot of friends that are recovering, and I always used to tell myself that I never felt like I had a problem, but now that I've been sober for almost a year now, I see I see where the problem lies. Um, and it really opened my eyes, and I thought to myself, I definitely had a problem.
What made you realize that? Was there anything in particular that's like, or was it just accumulation of things?
Um, I would say there was an accumulation of things. I could see how it was affecting my family in general. So my wife comes from, and this is my second wife, my current wife. She comes from a father that was a raging alcoholic, and she was always scared that that was going to happen to me, where I was going to be mean. And there was glimmers of times where I was mean, not abusive, physically, but verbally. And I would see that, and when you recognize that and you see that, you do feel like crap the next day, but you can't take it back. Um, so yeah, it's just kind of been. It was at that point where she got mad one night, and rightfully so. And I decided, this is it. I can't. I don't want to lose her. We have a son, and I'm not going to take the risk of losing her. She is far more important to me than any bush light ever will be.
What was the lowest point, Nick? Was there a lowest point where it was like, this is kind of the turning point? I can't do this anymore.
I mean, are you for me or for her?
Oh no, for you. I mean, for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um just the uh, just the silence from her, it was deafening. I could see that she was kind of getting away, and that's not something I wanted to do, and I knew that the alcohol was the issue. um and I like I said, there's nothing, I would not put that ahead of my family. um like I said, other than the car accident, that was the lowest of lows for me. I've never gotten to anything else. I mean, just seeing the type of person I was when I was drinking, things that I thought was funny probably wasn't. I would wake up. I mean, there was, you wake up, and when you wake up, there's times where I wake up and I just want to drink, and I would drink all day, drink all night, wake up and do it again because I wasn't feeling anything. When you get to the point where the hangover's not there, the you know you wake up and you feel like you can take on the world, and you're just a functioning alcoholic at that point. Um, that's when you realize, well, for me personally, that's when I realized that it's time. Like it's not doing anything any good for me, you know.
So, what was kind of the first thing you did to? I mean, did you reach out for help, or what was what did you do, like, to kind of put it all down?
No, you know what? I didn't reach out for any help. For me, it was I'm a pretty strong-willed person. If I want to do something, I'll do it. If I want to, if I, you know, if I want to quit something, I'm going to quit it. So I never seeked out any. I don't go to AA. I don't I don't go to anything like that. I just kind of just said, this is it. This is what I'm doing. I'm not jeopardizing my marriage. I'm not jeopardizing my family, and I'm done. And that's that. Like I just cold turkey. That was the deciding factor for me. And a lot of people, they didn't believe me because we've seen this before. We've heard this before. And I said, you know what? You have, but you haven't heard it like this. So when I say I'm done, I'm done. Um, and that was it. That was, woke up that day, March 23rd, 2025, and I said, this is it. Never again.
What do you do, like, on a daily basis to you do anything to kind of stay sober?
No, I mean, stay active. I have a TikTok page that I go on every day. I do have an app. I have an app that I go to, holds me accountable every day. I go on there. It lets me know how many days I'm at. It also, at the end of the day, it'll give me a prompt at 8 o'clock every night. Asks me how the day was, easy, hard, moderate, whatever, or complete failure. Ask me what I did, ask me my mood, put some notes in there of what I did for the day. Like I said, I did mention I do have a TikTok page, a sobriety TikTok page that I have over a thousand people on there now, followers, which is really cool. It's a thousand more than I have on my regular TikTok page. um, so I go on there. I just give people daily praise every day. I put the same thing and just put, I'm on day 335. If you woke up sober like I did, give yourself some praise, and people go on there, and it's really, it's a strong community of sober people, and it's not just of alcohol. I've seen people as far as from meth to a porn addiction. Um, and one of the first guys that I ever talked to on there, he told me, hey, I appreciate this page. It's, I got it. You have a porn addiction, or I had a porn addiction, and I was like, that's awesome, man. This isn't just for alcohol. That's what I'm sober from, but I want everybody that had some sort of addiction to come out and talk to me. And I don't look at it as I go on there, I do lives. I don't look at it as clout. I let people know that my messenger is open if they want to come talk to somebody, if they need to talk to somebody. I'm not a professional by any stretch of the imagination, but you know me helping somebody else, if I can help one person, that means the world to me. But yeah, I mean, other than that, it's just what really motivates me every day is just seeing the smiles on my family's face. My daughter, she's 12 years old, my oldest. um, she asks me every day, Dad, what day we on today? What day we on today? And if that's not motivation enough for you, I don't know what is, because she is so interested in my sobriety because she's never known me not to be sober. She's 12, and I mean, I taught these kids how to open up my beer cans for me. You know what I mean? And that's not I'm not proud of that. That's for sure. COVID hit, and I told him it's science class. Learn how to open up a bottle. Learn how to open up a can. So to have that support of my family is second to none when it comes to staying sober and staying on track.
Face any stigma or judgment, from from family or friends or anyone in your circle?
No, you know what? I wouldn't. There hasn't been a single person that I've talked to um, in my circle that has ever said anything to me about, giving me any type of judgment. You know, I've I could say that I've heard a lot of relationships with the alcohol addiction that I did have, because I would put that first, and I'm trying to rebuild those bonds with people. Other than that, um, but yeah, nobody. I can't say that I've ever had anybody kind of give me any kind of slack because of not drinking, and it took me a second. It took me a little while before I could get back into that scene of going to a party where people were going to be drinking and stuff like that. Not that it would entice me to do it. Just feel a little bit out of place. Um, I have a lot of friends that they are heavy drinkers. So yeah, a lot of them I had a lot of support from everybody, and that's the one thing that my wife said. When I went on Facebook, and put a post out there about how I am, decided that it's not for me anymore. This is what I want to do. There was a lot of support. 150 some likes, this, that, and a third. My wife's like, geez, I didn't know that many people were behind you about this, and how many people are actually, there's other people that are commenting on there talking about their dates. So yeah, it's been a really good process. It's been really, really supportive. And I would never push it upon anybody, but I always tell my friends, if you're ever thinking about it or doing whatever you want to do, come talk to me. I'll let you know what I'm doing. I'll let you know what got me to the point where I'm at.
So it sounds like a lot of your kind of recovery is related to social media. Is that be fair? I mean, a lot of your connections and community, like you've built a community on social media. So what's that like?
Yeah, it's definitely I've definitely built a community on there. TikTok is, and that's the thing about social media. Some people don't have it because they're like, it's just dumb, it's stupid. But it actually, social media does have a lot of good. I mean, hell, I would have never found you without social media, without Linda. Um, but yeah, it's so broad. And every, like, there's pages that'll just pop up sponsored links on there, where it'll be somebody I don't even know on Facebook that, hey, I'm X amount of days sober today. I know nobody would care, but I'm proud of myself, and I always comment on it. I always like it. You're gonna find people with similar interests and similar stories, through social media. Social media is not always a scary dark place. I can say that, that's for sure.
I've been in some scary, dark places. I have to agree with Nick.
Yeah, for sure.
So what what do you still experience any cravings or triggers or anything like that?
That's the craziest part of it all. Like I said, I'm a pretty strong-willed individual. um I can't say that there's ever been a time since I got sober that I have had a day where I'm like, I really want to have a beer right now. I really want to do this. I really want to do that. I mean, I went through my 41st birthday, and that's what you did on your birthdays, is drink. And I thought to myself, when I first started sobriety, is how the hell am I ever going to get through college football season without drinking every Saturday when I'm watching the Wolverines? And it was easy. Nothing has been hard, because the thing to me is, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. Your mind is the strongest part of your body, and that's just what I do. I put mind over matter, and it doesn't matter to want to pick up a bush light anymore, and it's just never, nothing has triggered me to want to open up a beer. Nothing. And it's funny because I used to be one of those guys where I'd see something new and I'm like, oh, I gotta try it. And I would get mad, like Bushlight brought out Bushlight Apple, and I'm like, oh, I gotta try that. Well, they only sold it in 30 packs, so I had to buy a 30 pack. Um, Now I see all the new stuff coming out, and I'm like, man, that's cool, but I have no desire to even want to try that. It's one of those things. I used to have to, but now I don't. It doesn't. That's cool, but don't need to try it.
So what are some of the best things that have happened to you in the last year?
um, you know, just being present. Being present has been such a big thing for me. Not waking up with the hangovers, not waking up craving the beers anymore. Um, the best, I mean, my kids are growing up, and I don't want them to have to see me in the light that they had before. So seeing myself in a different light, my family seeing me in a different light has been amazing. Um, you know, this opened my eyes to try new things, of getting new jobs. Um, I'm selling car parts now, which I like I said, I grew up in the country, but I knew nothing about cars because all I did was focus on wrestling. Um, Everybody in my family knew how to do cars, but I had no clue. And I'm selling car parts for Toyota now, so making great money. I have a great job. I finally got a job, um, where I'm working a 7 to 4 Monday through Friday, so I have weekends off. I've never had something like that before. Got a new baby coming. It's just all these great things that happen. I got back into working out and lifting. I started taking my health serious. I'm taking vitamins and supplements and whatnot. Um, and like I stated, there's some relationships that I kind of screwed up. Um, and I'm working on getting to the point where I can apologize for the things I did. And it takes a huge person to apologize, especially when you come from active addiction, and you think nothing's your fault. I want to be that bigger man now and apologize to those things. So those are things that have came through for me since becoming sober, is the fact that I can admit that I was wrong. I can admit, and I will always admit that I'm wrong.
So how do you define success in your recovery now?
Um, we always, like I said, I count the days that I have, um, and but that's not where the success lies, because you know yes, when I hit a year next month, I will feel successful. um just but my personal view of success is just being a better person than I was yesterday. um you know I want to be one of the greatest fathers to ever live. I want to be one of the greatest husbands to ever live. Um, those are what success is to me. And with me becoming sober right now, I see success on the horizon. I'm not there yet. I got a lot of work to do, but we're getting there. And that's what I see as success, is not, not how many days I'm at. My success is being a better father, being a better husband, just being a better person in general is where my success lies.
You can't be the greatest father ever, Nick. I'm sorry. I've already taken that role. I even have a cup that I had to buy for myself because my kids wouldn't buy it for me. So it says world's greatest dad, and I had to buy it myself, Nick.
We must shop at the same place, because I got a magnet on my fridge that says that too.
Yeah, absolutely. So what if any role does service play in your sobriety, like service to others or that kind of thing?
I've always, so after graduating high school and college, both, I coached wrestling, coached the sport. So being able to help one person a day, if that to me means the world. um I just, even like I tell people on my pages, my sobriety page, my TikTok page, I don't care if you're 1 hour sober, 1 day sober, 1 year, 37 years, whatever it is. You're doing it. You're making it when you get to that point. 1 hour, 1 minute. That's the best. um so like, if I can help one person out a day, that means the world to me.
I always say, if you don't drink today, you're tied for first place.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
um, do you what do you have? what's your do you have spirituality in your life? Does that play a role at all in your life, or what's your
You know, I never really got into church or anything like that. I mean, as a kid, I went to Sunday school. Everybody did, you know. Do I remember any much from that? No. I remember one thing that we did was brought in coins to put in a boat, and we had to sink the boat with all these coins. You know, that's the one thing I remember from Sunday school. I did go to church, you know, for some services, for Christmas Eve services at one point in time. But I will say, with the recent things going on in the world, one thing that really stuck out to me, you know, after I'm not a political guy at all, um, but when the things happened with Charlie Kirk, it really made me wanted to look into religion. I lost my dad at a young age. I lost my mom at a young age. Um, and then him passing away or getting murdered really made me just question, why do we take these people? Well, we may never get the answers. But it really made me wonder. And my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, and my wife, they have studied before, so I whenever that happened, I did reach out to my mother-in-law, and I asked, and my mother-in-law and father-in-law both, and I asked them, hey, what's a good way to start looking into the Bible, because I would really love to do that. Um, and lo and behold, you know, Amazon always comes through. The next day, I had a Bible sitting there, um, and it took me a little bit to start thumbing through it, and I kind of put it down after a while. There's a lot of big words in there that I don't understand. And it's an easier book to read, so you know, I started reading into that, and then once my kids saw me reading, they wanted to get into it. So my mother-in-law buys my daughter a book. I bought my son, he's 9 years old, I bought him a book that I had when I was a kid. It's the, you know, your first Bible or whatever. They're really short stories, but they kind of paraphrase everything into one. um, you know, and I will say, there was a night, and it will be the only night that I can say that I had a craving. My wife was at a concert with her friend, and I'm sitting outside. I got a nice TV set up, watching college football. I got a fire, and you know, boom, fire, beer. They go hand in hand. And we have a refrigerator in the garage full of beer. And it's like, I could probably just do one, thinking to myself. And then, you know, I sat there and I didn't get it. I didn't grab the beer because I've, and this is what really, other than the Charlie Kirk stuff, this is what really triggered me to really want to get into looking into religion, because that night, I don't know what it was, because my willpower was almost gone. I feel like there was a higher power that came over me and told me not to do that. And I don't know, it was hard to explain at the time. And I kept that in for a little while. You know, I talked to my wife the one night and I said, I just feel like I wanted to, but something told me not to. And I said, I don't know, because I'm not a religious person. I wasn't, you know. And I'm like, I don't know if it's a higher power that told me to do that. I don't know if it was my brain that clicked and said, don't do that, stupid. You're dumb. Don't do that. Um, but yeah, that those are the things that got me wanting to get into it. So yeah, we do. You know, we started doing some. I read. My wife and I would read together, which was awesome because she understood it a lot more than I did. So she would dumb it down for me, the words, the big words, you know, anything more than 5 letters. Um, but she would dumb it down for me. So yeah, I would say that through this and other current events, it has gotten me interested into religion, because I there's times where I feel like I need to look beyond myself and what's inside.
absolutely, man? It's so what would you say to somebody who might be listening right now who might be feeling hopeless?
Nobody's hopeless. Um, there's that is a really, really tough question. Um, but nobody is hopeless. You got to put your mind over matter, um, and just put one day at a time. And that's, I know that is that's an AA thing, because I hear it a lot. One day at a time. You got to put the right foot forward. Um, one thing that I've always stuck to, is because I'm a wrestler, is a saying that Dan Gable had, and it was, if it was easy, everybody would do it. You just got to be strong, and that's the thing. It's tough. It's hard. It's not easy. I'm there's times where I make it look easy, but it's not. I struggle every day. I mean, everybody's going to struggle. It's just, you have to choose how much you want to struggle and how much you don't. It's, there's better things out there.
Was there anything you wanted to talk about that we haven't?
Um, no, I don't think so. Yeah, it's just, it's been a really eye-opening experience. This is definitely the longest that I've gone without alcohol, or that type of substance. Um, but it's been a great and rewarding experience as well. Not only, it not it's just, I don't even, it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain to others how you feel when you, because not everybody's going to feel like I feel. you know um and it's tough, because I see a lot of people that do struggle to get sober. I've had kids that I've coached in wrestling that have passed away because of some sort of addiction, and I hate seeing that. Um, my parents didn't give me a whole lot of life expectancy. My dad died at a young age. I mean, he was 40, 42, 43. I'm turning that corner. I gotta outlive that guy. So, I wanted to. You got to change that. And yeah, it's like I said, it's been a rewarding experience, and I don't regret it.
Well, I appreciate you, man, coming on, and I hope you live a long and healthy life, Nick. Long, healthy life, man, and enjoy those kids. But I can't let you go without doing some rapid fire questions. So, are you ready, sir?
I think so.
No pressure. No pressure. Uh, what do you think is your sobriety superpower?
Ooh, that's a good one. Just being present. That's a superpower I have right now. And just being the person that I was supposed to be my whole life.
Fair enough. If you could say one thing to your former self, what would it be?
Put the bottle down, stupid. No, don't give your keys up. Honestly, that could have been a life changing thing, when I wrecked my car and totaled it. Don't don't drive. That would be the one thing I would really tell myself.
What song do you play to lift your spirits when you need a boost?
You know what? It's funny, because I used to listen to a lot of music. I don't listen to a whole lot of music now. I relax in my car, drive to work, drive home, listening to podcasts a lot. Honestly, um, I'll get I listen to the Cup of Joe show a lot, but every Thursday.
Thank
Um,
you, brother.
uh, little plug there, but I listen to a lot of wrestling podcasts. But if I was to listen to a song, it's always been my go-to whenever I was karaokeing, and I still to this day, and I know it word for word. Don't need no screen. Ice Ice Baby. That's my go-to right there.
Can't go wrong. You can't
No,
go wrong with
I
that.
still say that Queen stole that from him. He didn't steal that from them. Totally different
Oh, wait a
song.
minute now. Uh-oh. If you could grant yourself one wish to help with your recovery, what would it be?
Just clear head, clear mind at all times. You know, just stay sober. That's it.
What is one of your favorite movies?
Old school. Greatest movie of all time.
And finally, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
That is a really good question. Welcome, or we've been waiting for you.
Nice. Well, man, thank you so much for taking the time today, Nick. It means a lot, and it's an honor to have you on the show, brother.
I appreciate you having me on. I'd love to do it again sometime.
Absolutely, man. And if this episode meant something to you, share it with one person who needs hope today. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, take 30 seconds to leave a 5-star review. It helps this message reach someone who's still struggling, and doesn't know where to turn. A new episode of the Cup of Joe Show drops every Thursday at noon. You can listen anytime at thecupofjoeshow.net or on one of your favorite podcast apps, Podbean, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and more. Just search for The Cup of Joe Show. Don't forget the "the." And if you're looking for daily encouragement in your recovery journey, subscribe to our friends at the Daily Ponderables, delivering inspiration and strength straight to your inbox every morning. Please like, follow, subscribe, and share because someone out there might need to hear this today. Have a good day, everybody.
It's just a laid-back vibe, baby.
We hope you enjoyed today's Experience, Strength, and Hope. We are so grateful you decided to join us. Please share this episode with someone who might need it. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Remember, no matter where you are in your recovery journey, you are not alone. Reach up and reach out to someone. Please do not suffer in silence. Until next time, let's take it 1 minute, 1 hour, and 1 day at a time. Thanks for listening to the Cup of Joe Show.